And then after a little while, the Swedish government goes, okay, we cannot issue any more passports. We're just not able to. There's some diplomatic bullshit going on, right?
Yeah.
And so then he just goes, all right, and just starts faking passports. And he would just go up to like a train.
He's like, got it, boss. Fake passports.
He would just go up to a train with armed German guards forcing Jews onto the train. Just climb on top of the train, start handing out his fake passports through the windows to people, while the German guards like, get off! And start shooting over his head to try to scare him. Hands out all his passports, jumps down, tells everybody on the train, everybody with a passport, you're coming with me. He gets them on a motorcade of Swedish vehicles and drives them to the building he bought that he wrote Swedish Library on the front of and declared a diplomatic community center. The guy fought Nazism with just balls. Just big giant balls.
Just sheer audacity.
Yeah. And he knew the ultimate weakness of fascists. If you act if you act like you are in charge, the people who follow fascists will just listen to you.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
So like he basically operated essentially just on his own after a while until the Russians came in to Hungary. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it's real shady. We don't know exactly what happened. They say that the Russians captured him because they thought he had intelligence ties to the West, and then spent the next few years in a gulag and died. And officially, the Russians say he died in 1947. But no one.
Yeah, it's the Russians saying he died in 1947.
Yeah, and the West kept asking like, "Where's Wallenberg?"
47 what? 47 hours, 47 days.
No, in the year 1947.
Oh, well, I'm saying.
I know. But yeah, it's like, I want that show. You could almost make that like a dramedy. Just about the guy just giant fucking ball. No, he's like, I just wore Swedish something and just hung big Swedish flags on the outside. And like, diplomatic immunity. He was like Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy, but just did it with diplomatic immunity.
I like to think that it was all written in crayon. Swedish flag.
I think
I like to think that it was written in the backwoods kids' letters, you know?
Yeah.
Like, at some point, the buildings he bought housed like 10,000 Jews in them. And also his fake passport manufacturing. It's like, no, this guy is awesome. So.
Buttons?
Mindy?
Buttons. Yeah.
I mean, this is half of a Buttons and Mindy style episode.
It really is. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's a little Buttons and Mindy and a little Slappy the Squirrel. Because Angie goes full Slappy on a pitch.
True. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Alright, so, cold open. Keeps getting longer.
Yes, as we said, it's just going to get longer and longer. Eventually, it's going to be the opening credits and the end credits are just back to back.
And this one pretty much, I'm considering this the confirmation.
It'll be opening credits and then like just Griff like waves at the camera and then end credits.
I'm just considering this the confirmation that the German title people have just given up all hope.
Oh yeah, it's clear to me.
Yeah, I was like, maybe they'll no.
I mean, it could be that they're just lying in wait for something decent to cross the plate. But
there's some in the future that I'm kind of interested in because I looked at the titles ahead of time. But yeah, this one, the German title is just the oil rig. So
what's the title of the
rig?
Okay.
I mean, it's more clear.
Yeah, it's like, what kind of rig?
Yeah, this one's not about a truck. We know that. So
yeah, okay. I mean, yeah.
So the cold open, we have some oil rig workers playing cards, and then like a noise happens, and they're like, "Oh, one of the vents is clogged." And we're like, "It's your turn."
But wouldn't that be so much better if just Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China just rolled up in his car and it was all about his rig?
Oh yeah. No. Any little bit of Big Trouble in Little China in this would be good.
Or just like every famous rig converges. Like Optimus Prime pulls up.
Yeah.
Okay.
The war rig from Mad Max. Just all rigs come together. Riggs and Murtaugh.
But no, oil workers. One guy. It's his turn to
clean the vent.
To fix the thing.
Yeah. And so, right away, I have issue with this pipe immediately.
No, this is real weird to begin with.
Because
the guy goes around the corner to whatever the thing that's a problem.
This weird vent pipe thing.
Yeah.
That
and then he has to. He's figured out that it's like clogged, and he has to clean it out.
Yeah, and I guess they do that Snowpiercer style.
Yeah.
So
he literally just reaches in and just
there's like
out.
a red pipe. It looks like just diarrhea. It just looks like
he just starts scooping out gunk. It doesn't look like just shit.
Yeah, it just looks like he has to clean the shit pipe every once in a while. Which I understand why I'd be like, no, it's your turn to clean out the shit pipe now.
What I don't understand is why he's using his bare hand.
I don't know either. You would think there'd at least be a glove involved.
I would want gloves.
Those cow ones that go up to your shoulder.
Yes, for the shit pipe, that's what you want.
100%.
Or I mean, a pipe cleaner, because I mean it's a pipe.
No,
and you'd think that it would have just just
a
giant...
tool for this this. No,
Yeah.
just the human hand.
Well, it's like Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
He was raised to learn.
Yes, it is
Every machine has its place, and this guy's place is cleaning out the shit pipe. And so immediately this guy's making poor decisions with just barebacking this thing. And then he gets 2-3 scoops of shit, and then it goes in and he hits the ooze.
Well, he sees a glow.
He sees the glow first.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
He sees
the glow.
There's a weird glow in the pipe.
So I refer to this as the ooze lamp because it's 100% the glow they use in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they just snagged it off the set after Ninja Turtles 2.
They probably did.
They're like, are you done with this vanilla ice? And he's like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Cool.
And so he sees it, he's like, huh. And he notices it. It's not like it just happens for our benefit. He sees
and it's not like it happens when he's not looking either.
No.
He sees it.
He looks at it and he's like, huh.
And then reaches hand inside.
And then I'm just gonna bear back this thing too. Let's see what this glowing stuff is. Comes out goo. Like a clear
lube.
Yeah.
It looks like fucking lube.
Yeah, he just
So
gives his KY.
It's like he fisted somebody in reverse. First he's scooping out the poop, and now it's covered in lube.
Yeah.
You gotta do that the other way around, guys.
And then you get it into the Santorum. And then he's like, it just goes back in again.
Keeps on doing it.
Yeah, and then obviously,
but this time his arm doesn't come.
Sucked in.
His arm doesn't
he's
come
stuck,
out.
and he's yelling. And then the buddies come, and of course, our initial diagnosis once I describe the monster is 100% true. Where once his buddies pull him out, of course his arm melts because it's acid.
In a really bad sequence. It's just So basically, they just watch the ooze. I was gonna check when the remake of the Blob came out and released this.
I don't know,
but basically they just watched that movie, and that's the episode. Really bad sequence. The dude he sort of fakes it that it's burning.
Yeah,
and then the camera pans away. And then it pans back, and it's just like a skeleton arm.
Well, first they have it covered in the blood gel, so it's all just red and sticky looking, right? Yeah. And he's like, ah, and there's they did some things to make it look like there's some holes developing.
Yeah.
Very, very Halloween-y level stuff, and he's like, ah, and they cut back, and it's just skeleton. And,
then they went all full deathbed, and it's just little skeleton.
And then so the gooey skeleton arm is there, and then there's another guy who just looks up and just gets a bit of the lube on his face, a bit, and then it's all right, this would be a sensible show would then cut to credits.
Yes.
No, we're not there yet, but
see, that would be a good enough cold open for everybody else.
Yeah,
but not Baywatch Night Season 2.
No. So then we go to Hoff painting a lifeguard tower, and Angie walks up, and she's like, "Why are you doing this?" He's like, "Because it has to be done." And then evidently she's there to talk about Teague, which I was hoping they were going to start complaining about Teague. When Hoff's like, "This is about Teague," I was like, "Oh, fuck Teague."
Yeah, I know.
And I want them to be like, fuck Teague. No, instead...
They should. They have every reason to be.
Yeah, they at least clarify some stuff on Teague in this episode.
It's true. They do.
Without him appearing. He's not in the episode. and it has the most exposition about him so far in the season.
Yeah, it's true. It's great. It's everything we wanted. Less Teague on screen and more exposition about him.
Yeah, it's true. So Teague had told Angie that this sort of thing, because he's like, oh, you know the thing that happened on the oil rig, because one guy died, one guy went missing. I'm guessing Sir Melty Arms died, and
somebody else went missing.
Maybe Sir Facial.
Presumably the guy who got the ooze on the face, but it could have been any of them.
Yeah, Mr. Money Shot there.
I wonder. So how many episodes into the second season are we? Is this episode
third.
4? Third. So third. So figure this might actually be because we're in the time before the internet. That when they actually started getting like letters from people to say who's this Teague guy? What the fuck's going on? And why is he in this show?
I don't know.
And so they had to stop and go, you go sit in your little corner. We're going to explain things about you real quick.
So, Angie's like, oh, Teague said this sort of thing happened before. And it happened in Saudi Arabia. Except for everybody died in Saudi Arabia. So this is evidently an Arabian gelatinous cube.
Arabian cube!
And so they basically say, all right, well, we'll get a boat and check it out and like have a picnic and go to the rig. It's basically their plan. And so now we cut to them on the boat, still in the cold open, and they're cruising out to the oil rig, and they kind of circle around it a bit, and then they pull up to it, and Angie starts describing basically how oil works, how it forms a dome.
What do oil do?
Yeah, and how deep they're digging and stuff, and then Hoff is just basically Hoff must eat. Hoff hungry now.
yeah, that's right. I forget. Did you mention that she lures him out to the rig with the promises of picnic?
Yeah, I said that.
Okay,
yeah, their plan was picnic and investigation.
And Hoff's just all about that picnic.
Yeah, he's
Yogi Bear.
Once he gets aboard, he's like, where's his food? And so they bop around the.
For all we know, Angie's picnic game is on point.
Yeah,
she just does the best picnic.
Well, maybe they hit up Ellerby for some fried chicken.
Could have. Maybe they. Well, we already know she knows how to do the peanut butter and banana sandwich.
That's true. Gotta mash them up.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
So this is the part that confused me. They clear it up later, but I was like, okay, I guess this oil rig is abandoned because one dude died.
Yeah,
dude went missing.
They really gloss over that.
They bring it up later. Yeah. They clarify it later. But right now, I'm like, they're giving oil companies way too much credit. Like 2 dudes dead is nothing to them.
Oh yeah.
Like they would use their bones as part of the drilling equipment. And this is supposed to be one of the more productive oil rigs in the area.
Oh yeah, no.
There's no way they're gonna.
It would be so covered up, and they'd go, "There's an accident," and it would continue on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is what's going on. It is covered up.
Yeah, but the thing that happens is that later they clarify that when the drill strikes ooze monster, the well dries up. They clarify that later. So after they hit the monster, no more oil. Which makes sense, but maybe they could have brought it up now,
Yeah, because now they're just sort of wandering on an oil rig, and you're wondering where's the people and why are they being allowed to do this?
Yeah. So then they get to the same area they get to the same shit pipe, and Hoff, being Hoff, immediately sticks his hand into the shit pipe, and then he's like, and with Angie, he's like, and does the fake, it's got me sort of thing, and then pulls it out like, jerk off, and he's like, actually kind of burns.
Yeah, that is a funny thing.
Yeah, and he got some of the ooze jizz on him. And so, and then finally, we hit the end of the cold open. 8 minutes and 20 seconds into the episode. This episode is 42 minutes long.
I really need to start actually timing those. Now that they're definitely just getting longer and longer.
At this point, you just expect the credits to roll.
Oh yeah.
So, when we get back, and I got also, I cannot overemphasize how much that scream in the beginning of the intro music ruins the tension of the moment they establish.
It really does.
Every time, he's like, actually burns a little, and it's like, dun, dun, dun. Son of a bitch!
Yeah, every time. It's...
I mean, is their cold open so long that it gets a commercial break in the middle?
It might have. This was a fifth of the episode length. Was before the cold open.
I'm from the way that the breaks go. It might be that there's the cold open, then commercial, and then right back into the opening.
I'm thinking that where you were like, oh, this is where the cold open would stop. There was literally a commercial break.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Then it
saying.
went off to Hoff fucking around painting and shit, and then it goes to the fucking break.
Before that.
Yeah, literally like skeleton art, and then commercial break, and then it comes back on, and he's painting the thing, and then it goes over. Because literally, that's about where the first commercial break should be.
Yeah, you're right. That's entirely probable.
So, after suffering through the terrible Halloween music, we get basically this part. It just sounds like Angie's cheating and has opened up the monster manual to the page for the monster that the DM called up.
It's true. Yeah.
It's like this basically for the whole episode. So she just starts pulling shit out of her ass that is 100% accurate.
Well, yeah, I mean, she picked up Tobin's Spirit Guide, and
so she's like, okay, and she's like, single cell organisms, and she's like, it's like, and I was like, okay, yeah, amoebas, protozoas, whatnot. She's like, yeah, they just want to eat, they're formless.
Yeah, she immediately goes to the idea that this is a giant single cell organism.
Yeah,
it's just like from a proposal of nothing, really.
Yeah,
it just reminds me
she
of
has no information.
Mr. Plunkett. How do you know this? Have you read the script? Is that the script over there?
And so, and the thing is it comes up multiple times. I'm like, yeah, she just has the monster manual open. She's in the oozes section, and she's like, oh yeah.
She's like, which is this? Is it ochre jelly? Is this a black jelly?
So, and this is where we find out that when the ooze attacks, the well dries up. This is when they explain that. And
yeah, she said that happened last time, right?
Yeah.
With the other rig.
And basically, this is where she hypothesizes it just wants to eat. That's what it does. It just eats people.
Well,
yeah.
Well, see, because they don't understand anything, and they were like petroleum jelly. That means that it's literally a petroleum jelly. So
it's like they watched the Blob remake and Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, and then just made this episode.
Yeah, no, that is basically. I was like, I completely forgot that the Blob remake was like '88. I always think that it's a little bit later than that.
Well, yeah, because the effects are so good.
Not in this episode.
No, the Blob '88.
I know.
Just like the Thing is like early '80s too.
The Yeah, she doesn't even know that there's an ooze at this point.
Right. She has no. The more logical conclusion is that they just found some sort of acid thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not that it's not that there's like an ooze monster. They just stumbled upon acid.
Yeah, some kind of corrosive pocket or something.
Yeah.
Right. That makes the most sense. Because they don't know what happened.
In fact, or even going towards her hypothesis, there's no reason that it would have to be a giant ooze creature or a single cell creature. It would make more sense for it to be a bunch of little single cell creatures, just in puddles, you know.
And here's the thing that really makes it weird is that they didn't find the survivor yet to describe what she saw.
Yeah.
So she's just making this up on her own.
Yeah.
She's just apropos of nothing. She's just making it up. So these assholes are finally asking some questions about Teague. They're walking around. They're like, "What the fuck is up with Teague anyway?"
Yeah.
And we're like,
why
no.
are we here?
Why does T keep contacting about? And they're like, well, he's got money to throw around. He keeps sending us on these assignments. But it's okay, finally, he confirms T's the one hiring them. Which they haven't really said anything about before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because before they just have a boat.
Well, like the first time, he didn't hire them for anything. The very first time,
one,
he sat down to have lunch with Hoff. And Hoff's like, hey, you know about this thing? You know about what a Jogan is? And he's like, fuck yeah, Jogan. We got one down Guinea way.
And Hoff's like, fuck you, I'm rescuing people from a boat.
Yeah. And then the second time, he just like called him up and had him show up somewhere. And so that time, sure, he hired. And then this time, he's just sent him to fuck off.
Yeah.
Who knows what. They're like, you think he's like government or something? Like, no, he throws around money way too much for government work. He's got to be some kind of privately funded thing.
Well, that's not true. Government through.
No, I didn't say it makes sense. It's just what they say.
All right.
Yeah. So, and then Hoff imagines who Teague's boss is, which is basically if you cross the characters of Kingpin and Oracle. He's like, I just picture a big fat guy in front of a wall of computer screens.
Yeah. That is basically what he described.
Yeah. In a big leather chair.
Or the one demon lady from Blade.
I mean...
Oh, right. Pearl.
Yeah.
I mean, or Dr. Claw. There's a lot of people who just sit in a chair and do stuff, And it's Kingpin plus any of them. So, they go back outside the outside of the rig, and they see it looks like an abandoned boat, just floating there. So they go to investigate that.
Yeah, they're like, why is the boat out here?
Yeah.
Hoff, being lifeguard thing, he's like, that random floating derelict boats are dangerous, so I gotta go deal with it.
Yeah. And he makes sure to warn before he commits any piracy. Hey, anybody on there? I'm coming aboard. He's actually responsible there because he's in his element. He's on the water here.
Yeah, no.
There's like empty champagne bottle rolling around. Hits his foot. He goes inside because it's like a small yacht.
It's your standard small party boat.
And and he sees there's some like canapes and shit out. They're like half eaten and they're just like there. Nobody's there. And then he yells around a bit, and then Angie pounds on the glass. And she's motions up, and he comes out, and then up top, there's a lady hiding up there. Her name's Claire, and she has failed all her spirit checks.
Yeah.
Oh.
She has failed she put no ranks in guts.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
It is what happens. So she's tearfully telling about how the guy she was on the boat with, some big amorphous thing, just she heard She basically says, I heard a Jogan growl.
That's basically what she said.
Yeah. And then she looked over and she saw this big amorphous thing just kind of grab him and pull him overboard.
Yeah.
And then he's been gone.
She said some big thing.
Yeah.
And she's and they press her on it. Did it look like a human? Did it look like an animal? And she's like, no, it didn't look, didn't have a shape and all that stuff.
Yeah. And so, they're like, all right, well, let's get you back aboard our boat because this boat's all fucked up. And
well, yeah, the engine on party boat just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that was that was part of it, I think. The dude went to the back of the boat to check out stuff, and then Jogan growl.
Wow. So they're like, okay, let's go back over to our boat and we'll take you to safety. And she doesn't want to go. She doesn't want to cross the threshold, but over the water. She's like, no. And Hoff's like, listen, bitch.
Yeah, Hoff eventually just takes her over anyway.
Yeah, and so they get to their boat, and now it's not working either. They try it, and Hoff's doing all the mechanical checks. He's like, everything looks like it should work. It's just not working.
Yeah.
And all right, we gotta deploy our little inflatable lifeboat dinghy, and they take that back to the oil rig, and then we cut to Erica on the beach. She's now a full blown lifeguard, and she gets her first slow motion
Erica?
run. Donna, I mean.
Donna.
Donna. I don't know why I wrote Erica. Because her last name is Erica, and Donna. Donna's on the beach, full blown lifeguard, and she gets her first like slow mo run, and this guy's drowning in like the part of the ocean where the waves are like breaking, so it's not even that deep.
Yeah.
And they really try hard to make it look like a real rescue. Like she runs in and like dives, and she like goes over there, and then like when she grabs him, and then she kind of stands up at the end, but like they didn't cut before the stand up, so she like grabs him, she's like, hold on to the can. And then she stands up, and it's like waist high water.
Yeah, it's not much of a rescue, but I get it. It counts.
Yeah.
Even though she's excited about it.
Yeah.
In a minute from now, she's still like, I guess it sort of counts.
Yeah. She gets back and she asks Griff where Hoff is because she wants to tell Hoff about it. She's like, I made a rescue. Well, kinda. He's probably gonna drown, but he didn't. and Griff's like, yeah, they haven't come back from that oil rig thing. I don't know.
I'm sure they're fine.
Yeah. And then, so then we go back to the rig, and I guess a storm is coming now. They didn't mention any ill weather.
Yeah.
At any point before this, but now weather's going to shit out there. And the fucking Claire is just freaking out. Angie's getting real sick of her shit. Hoff is hungry again.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I want that food now. And they're like, and he's like, he left it on the boat.
It's like it was on the boat.
And yeah, Angie's just already making just real bitchy face at Claire's bullshit. And that's pretty much all we get back there. We go back to Griffin Donna. I ruined it in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Once I did it once, I did it the whole time. Griffin Donna, they're like trying to get a hold of Angie and Hoff. Mm-hmm. They try the radio, like Donna calls up the Baywatch dispatch. It's like, oh, can you get a hold of Hoff on the radio? They're like, no, I haven't heard from him. We'll have him get a hold of you if they call back in. And Griff's like, let me try Angie's cell phone. Oh, nope, she's outside the service area. And then Donna basically says that she believes the same thing that we do, that Hoff gains his power from the water. She's like,
No. Yeah.
She's like, I shouldn't be worried. It's Mitch Buchanan out on the ocean, in a boat. He's gonna be fine. But I am worried.
She realizes it well.
Yeah. And back on the oil rig, we hear the
Jogan growl.
It's a Jogan adjacent. It's like they just slowed down the Jogan growl a little bit.
Yeah, basically.
Instead of going wow, it's like wow.
Gotta use the entire buffalo.
Yeah. I mean, I am not discounting that they may have just slowed it down by like 25%.
Yeah, maybe tweak something here.
Yeah, because it really sounds similar.
Yeah,
it's just not quite the same. Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah. So Claire does not want Hoff to go off on any sort of shit. And
yeah, she's terrified of anybody going anywhere.
Yeah,
basically.
And Angie's like, you gotta fucking calm your shit.
And she's just convinced the creature is waiting around every corner.
Yeah,
gotta get her, etc., etc. Standard just hysterical stuff.
Yeah, and so Hoff goes outside, and Storm's there now. The mysterious and this is the funny thing is when we cut back to the beach, weather's fine. The storm is only at the oil rig.
Yeah.
And we even get a shot later that shows them out on the water going towards the oil rig. They're fine. And they show the oil rig, and it's just surrounded by lightning.
Yeah, the oil rig in that shot looks like an evil castle, basically.
Yeah. But that's later. But
that's way later.
So I'm not discounting the fact that this ooze might also have weather control.
It seems in line with the stuff that it does.
Yeah. It may have levels in Druid. So Hoff sees the ooze lamp turn on under their little dinghy because they just tied it up next to the ladder or whatever. And so he sees, oh shit, the ooze lamp's on, and then just fucking explosion happens underwater. Not really clear what this function is.
Yeah, it just happens.
Yeah.
It's just a weird explosion, and their dinghy is sunk.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, well, I guess that's something.
Yeah. It's basically just, yep.
Yeah. We go back to Donna and Griff. They're on one of the Baywatch scarabs now with some nameless lifeguard. And it's dark now. It's like pitch black outside. And they're like, we haven't seen anything yet. It's probably fine, right? It's probably not dead. And they just kind of shrug at each other, and then back to the oil rig. And the blonde is going full, like, freaking out person from Aliens.
Yeah. Full game over man situation.
And Hoff runs in. It's got one of those doors that has the wheel in the middle. And he, like, seals that up. And he's like, fucking shit's getting real out there.
He's like, yep, there's an ooze monster, basically.
You're 100% right, Angie. And
yeah, he immediately starts, like, questioning Angie about what she knows. What do you know about the ooze monster, Angie?
And, of course, she has totally looked up the, she's totally looked up the stat block mid-adventure here. And so they're like trying to sneak away, and then you see like the first glimpse of it outside the window. So they're like sneaking along, and they see it, and it's going that way, and they go, and they go that way, and then they do the classic, oh, he's right behind me, isn't he? Gag with Hoff, totally wordlessly, where like they show him, and then like Hoff like stands up, and then right back there and
you can see
like out of focus
in the background,
and then then Angie and Claire kind of look at him, and he's like, and they go, and then they Scooby Doo run away.
And then Yakety Sack starts up. And...
It might as well, but
so yeah, now they're like creeping along here, since they got away, and then Angie's like, I figured it out. The boats don't work because the explosions cause EMPs that monsters store up or some shit.
basically the ooze just has an electromagnetic field.
Yeah. Yeah, he just, and like, I don't know if Hoff ever explained the explosion to Angie, or if she's just reading out of the monster manual.
It seems more like she's just reading out of the monster manual. I don't remember him explaining the explosion, but he did explain the glow and stuff, and I think that's where she gets it from.
Yeah, I don't know, but
that's where she keys it off of.
Yeah. Yet Angie wants to kill Claire more. I mean, I can't overemphasize how much she's constantly just like looking at Claire like, you dumb bitch.
Yeah, because Claire's his whole thing right now is just continual stream of game over man in various fashions.
Yeah.
And Angie just doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah, and so then they get to like a galley, and they're like, all right, we should be safe. Like, do you think you can get in here? And Hoff's like, well, I do now that you mention it. It's like, well, what were you thinking before? Like, if we just imagine it's safe, it's a safe zone.
Well, it's really weird.
I know.
The whole thing's really weird. They keep on acting like the creature preys by sight, but there's no reason to think it has eyes.
Yeah. It's just a blob.
It's just a blob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they already said it's single-celled organisms. It's not like...
Yeah.
So Hoff's like, all right, I'm gonna go outside and check it out. So...
And of course, Claire's super against it.
Yeah, she's like, no.
And if you leave for 10 seconds, you will be eaten by the ooze monster.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that is horror movie rules, to be fair.
So he goes outside, and they do the one effect that's actually kind of neat in this episode. So he sees the ooze lamp shining against the wall, and then there's like a sheet of the KY jelly, and it's dripping up the wall.
Oh, that.
Because what they did is they just had like some signs and stuff on a wall upside down, and then let it drip down it. But it dripping up it looks kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, so it looks like it's crawling up.
Yeah, it looks like it's creeping up the wall, and he's like, right, and then he runs back in, and then he grabs Angie, and he's like, you metagaming whore, what's its weakness? And she's like, well, oozes take double damage to fire in this setting, and he's like, cool, and then they MacGyver up a flamethrower in the kitchen. So he tries to grab a hose for the gas line in the stove.
And what is it? Claire and Angie already like had their bitch at each other moment thing, where Claire's all like, "Why aren't you scared about this?" Or is that a little bit later?
It's a little bit later when they're trying to run away. When Hoff decides to.
Anyway, flamethrower.
Yeah. So he tries to get the hose over to the door because it starts to like slime under the door.
Yeah.
And again, these are just your standard like wooden door things. So there's plenty of room for an ooze to squeeze under.
And so he like he rigs up something with some extra hose and stuff, and like rigs up a thing. And he's like, "All right, Claire, you got to turn the burner on all the way." And he like starts to fire, makes the little flamethrower.
He's like, I need more hose. Claire, grab it over here.
And so Hoff burns his hand after like torching it, and then
because it is just a metal. They basically just have a metal rod that shoots fire at this point.
And
so obviously it gets super hot.
So obviously what they do is they pour the ooze so it goes under the door, and then after the flamethrower they just rewind the ooze back under the door like and then this is when Hoff is like, all right, so
and doesn't Claire freeze up there?
this is where she has a little like I mean she like waits a second and then gets it on. Yeah. I mean she does okay though considering her mental state.
No.
But and then this is Hoff's like, all right, oil rigs have a self-destruct. We just have to blow this rig. Yeah, I know. News to me too.
Yeah, he just apparently this is just offhand knowledge that he knows.
Yeah,
that
Hoff has
that all oil rigs are rigged with C4 explosives to self-destruct for some reason.
Yeah. So now he's like, all right. So I'm just gonna cause a major ecological disaster here.
So yeah, I'm just gonna blow this oil rig.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many things wrong with that statement.
So he runs off to find the self-destruct panels. It's just funny because they're like Motorola self-destruct panels. There's like a little logo there. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. And then we cut back to Donna and Griff on the boat. And Donna's like, I can't see any of the lights. We should be approaching it. And then it's like cut to their view. Or Griff's like, it's probably up in that fog bank ahead. And then you cut to their view. And there's just an oil rig surrounded by green light with lightning bolts flashing behind it.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know, I should be here somewhere.
I hope they're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so what you're saying is this is Hades and Zeus having a fight on an oil rig.
It looks like the oil rig was built in the upside down.
No. Like, really all you need is, like, a wolf howl and, like, bats to, like, fly by.
A Jogan growl.
and a Jogan growl.
Yeah. You know, the best oil comes from Ravenloft.
Yeah, really.
So Hoff, like, kind of looks at the self-destruct shit, and he's like, alright, I gotta, like, there's, like, multiple panels. So he, like, looks in, and he, like, sets the self-destruct, and there's a little voice thing, and it's like, oh, to do self-destruct, you have to repress this sequence that I told you. And then if you don't do it, then fuck you.
A little Simon thing comes up.
And then it's like...
Green, red.
And so it gives him a little code that he's going to have to punch into all the panels.
Like 3 of them.
And so, and he punches in the thing, and okay, and first light lights up. And we cut back to Angie and Claire.
And by the way, their plan at this point is to blow up the oil rig and just swim away?
Yeah.
No, that's great in the thing that, you know...
Well, I mean, to be fair, they shouldn't... I mean, it's pitch black outside, but they're not that far from the boat.
Yes.
The boats are still out there.
It's true.
They're not just going to swim to shore, I don't think.
Yeah, but still swimming away from...
in the pitch black.
In the pitch black.
With no lighting.
Well,
outside of the green light.
Outside of the green light of the ooze monster, that would definitely kill them if it's in the water with them.
Yeah. So then we cut back to Angie and Claire, and they just reuse that same shot of the ooze pouring under the door again. Ooh, here it comes again. And so now Angie's manning the flamethrower.
And this blob is really taking his time, by the way.
But Angie is evidently just better at flamethrower than Hoff, because she doesn't fuck her hand up at all.
Well, she gets a thing.
And this time the ooze actually ignites. Like, it actually catches on fire.
Yeah. And then it comes in from another
window. Then it comes in like a window. It's like, brrr, and they're like, and the gas runs out on the... Like, they look at a little gauge. It's like, ee, buddy!
Yeah.
And so then they run for a door.
They run out of propane.
Yeah.
Hank Hill is mortified.
And they run to the door, and, like, Angie's trying to get it open, and Claire's just frozen over there off to the side.
Oh well, they go to they do a little run sequence. They go to a door and what is it? And a body just like kind of flops out.
This corpse just weirdly gropes Claire.
Yeah, it's weird that there's a corpse just around,
and it's like
when there's an ooze monster that eats all flesh.
Yeah, and he's clearly been like he's like stage 1 of the ooze from the guy when he had the Halloween makeup on.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they try to open the door. Claire's and it just sort of flops out on Claire, and then she just freaks out and won't do anything anymore.
Doesn't necessarily flop. Well, it doesn't just like go blah. Like it's clearly a dude who's trying to pretend to be a corpse, but also like fall on her. So it like stumbles out like and grabs, and you think, oh, maybe this guy's fucked up but alive, like he's the missing guy, and she's like and then he just goes flop against the wall, and then it's just he's just a corpse dude, but he did a little bit of Legends of the Hidden Temple on her.
He was the laziest temple guardian.
Yeah. Turns out she had the medallion, though, so had to let her go. And so Hoff gets to his second panel, and this is really weird, because he, like, finds the second one, and he, like, does the sequence, and he runs back to the first panel, and then sees that there's 2 lights on and not 3, and he's like, ah! But he pulled out, like, a thing that showed... like had a map.
Well, my impression is that he got lost and accidentally wound up at the first panel.
Maybe it's real unclear.
That was my impression, but you're right. It is real weird.
Yeah, and so he goes to run off to find the third, and this is where and so they're fucking trying the door more, and then like Claire's she's gone. She's just not doing anything.
And Angie's not strong enough to open it by herself.
Yeah, and she can't, just like before she was able to at least intimidate Claire into competence, and this time it's not happening, but...
And Ooze Monster's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. Now we get like the green filter of Ooze Monster vision.
We had that a little bit before, actually, I think, when they were chasing the 3 of them into the kitchen, but... And
it's like, whoa, wobbling towards them. And then, Hoff, on his way, he, like, sees where the third panel is. And he's like, oh, I can just fucking shortcut this shit and not have to go around. I'm the Hoff. I'm cool. And he, like, tries it, fucks it up immediately, ends up hanging from a chain for a bit.
Yeah, it's such a shitty little sequence of him trying to get across an I-beam. And it's a short I-beam. He could literally just, like, lay across it and get to the other side. Mm-hmm. But he makes... unless there's something about his character like being super afraid of heights or something, there's no excuse for this.
Here's my theory: is later he does some high level gymnastics, so I'm gonna assume his character sheet shows good acrobatics check, and he just fucked the role.
It could be.
He's like, I got this. I'm the Hoff. I have advantage because we're in the water situation.
Natural war.
And he just blood shits the bed. He's like, fuck. He's like, well, okay, you have a chance to grab the chain. Okay, grab the chain.
Yeah, that is what it sounds like. But yeah, because somebody could be across this thing in like 2 seconds, and and he takes like 2 minutes to then fall off of it.
Well, it's like the one water animated spell book or whatever, where it's like 10-foot drop. Well, you jumped 9 feet, so you're in the water. And like throw a rope. Natural 1. You throw the rope, but you don't hold on to the other side.
And so Angie and Claire are still fucking with this door. Hoff gets to the third panel, arms it. And it's like, alright, cool. You've armed this. You have 90 seconds to get out now. He was like, oh, fucking sweet, 90 seconds. And then now we finally get Angie and Claire through the door.
Yeah, the self-destruct is just ridiculously unforgiving also. Yeah. It's like, why? Why does it need to be 90 seconds?
Yeah. And so, for this, I'm going to forgive it, but there's a weird little bit of time dilation. Usually you get really drastic time dilation with the self-destruct countdown thing.
There was a lot. Yeah. I remember I started counting when they
Well, see, I did it too. So the first 30 seconds past the 30 seconds. But then I'm going to think that the reason why the next minute takes like a minute and a half to a minute 45 is because they also cut to Griff and Donna on the boat a bit. They cut away just a bit, and then they cut to and they cut back and forth between Hoff and Angie and Claire, and I think the cuts back and forth are simultaneous and not linear time.
Well, I'm talking about the one where he's like, what Well, what does he say? He says something like, where the voice says like 10 seconds till explosion, and then he explains the plan, which takes more than 10 seconds.
No, it was 30 seconds then. It was like 30 seconds or 45 seconds was when he explained that. The 10 seconds was him like running around like a rat in a maze.
Yeah.
So, but there's 60 seconds left, and he sees some like ooze on a table. He's like, alright, well, fuck it. Angie and Claire, they get away. They can hear this countdown shit happening now. It's being announced in the whole rig. And they decide we're just going to hide for a minute. There's literally a minute until the thing blows up. They're just going to sit down and hide. And then they hear something coming. So Angie grabs a big-ass wrench and then almost brains the shit out of the Hoff.
Yeah. I don't know what that wrench would do to the ooze either.
Yeah, it's a formless ooze. But, yeah, she's just going to kill Hoff over.
And also, once again, hiding from the ooze.
Yes. On the thing that's going to blow up in literally a minute.
Yeah.
You have 1 minute to get out of there. Now's not the time for a short rest. So they're like, alright. Officer's like, alright, I'm just going to shove your asses in the water. Just kick you down this trapdoor, basically. And then I'm going to make sure it stays on this oil rig. That's his plan. So he just hucks him out. And then he runs back up there. And
he basically tries to get as high as he can.
Yeah. And so, like, this is where he does some, like, super, like, obviously not the Hoff gymnastics, where they show him, and then it's, like, cut, and then he's, like, woo, and does this weird thing where he, like, grabs a thing, and, like, jumps up and does, like, a weird backflip and spin thing, and he does all kinds of weird shit to get up, like, up a floor without using any sort of thing that's designed to go up.
Yeah.
And it's, like, alright, yeah. Didn't you just fuck up on the fucking I-beam a second ago, buddy?
Yeah.
So, this is where we get the best shot of the terrible, terrible effects. So, you basically just have, like, a thick rubber sheet with, like, some people poking their hands under it, like, I'm an ooze monster! Yeah. It's really great. And then we get the countdown, like, oh, it's counting down, you know, and it's like, you know, it does the last 5 seconds, it counts out loud. And it's like, Hoff, like, runs one direction, and it's like, oh, ooze monster. And he runs back the other direction, it's like, ooze monster. Turns back the other way, like, ooze monster. And then he jumps out the window, and this window, this explosion. This explosion is so hilarious on the cut, because on the first shot, they show the Hoff stunt double jump out the window, and then it's just like a gas can explosion just straight out the window. Like the self-destruct just pointed a flamethrower out the window. So he jumps out and goes, boo! And then they cut to a completely different, like, probably from some movie or something where they reused the shot of an oil rig blowing up all over the place where nobody's jumping out of a window. There's no thing where none of it matches up with anything. It's like Hoff comes out this window and then fire, and then the whole thing's up in flame. And yeah, and then they cut to the next morning. And Donna and Griff are on the boat with Angie and Claire. And they're like, and now Claire, perfectly fine. She's like, we blew up the monster, that's all I care about. Angie, freaking out.
Well, Claire's like, I believe Hoff will make it.
Yeah, I know.
But Angie, no. She's like, no, what if he's dead? Yeah. I can't believe it.
Yeah. And they just totally flipped the script. Yeah. Claire just wanted to see explosions. When she got her explosion, she was cool. And that's the last thing Angie wanted.
Well, yeah, it's towards the end. Claire, after she got bitched at, she's like, "Why aren't you scared?" She's like, "I don't have time to be scared because Angie's doing thinking about."
Yeah, she's too busy reading the monster manual.
She's too busy reading the monster manual. So now Claire's gone past her fear stage. And now it's Angie's turn. Because there's no point in looking at the monster manual.
Yeah, we already got the XP for this fight.
Yeah, so now she's in her fear stage.
Yeah. So, and then we see Hoff, like, just clawboard the back of the boat. He's like, ah!
Yeah, the one place nobody's looking.
Yeah, they're all looking all other directions. And Hoff just claws himself aboard. And one of my favorite parts of the episode here. So Claire comes up, gives him the hug, basically gives him the quest completed check mark. And then Griff comes up and he's like, what the hell just happened? And then it's like end credits.
Yeah. Yeah.
That might be my favorite part of the episode.
Yeah. No, it's a good part of the episode.
Yeah. You know what the best part of the episode was? When the credits rolled.
Well, no, it's just the
I know.
cut of him, like, because, yeah, they didn't really tell him. They're just like, oh, we're going to go check out this thing at an oil rig.
Yeah.
And then he shows up and they blew up the oil rig.
Yeah. From Griff's standpoint, none of it makes
Yeah,
sense.
from his standpoint, they're terrorists.
Yeah.
It's like, we gotta destroy the oil rig, so that way the steam lamp Playa Vista can corner the power production.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
They can keep churning out species, ladies.
Yeah, because they self-replicate.
For Afterburn.
Yeah. Yeah, that was... Oh.
That's Teague's real end game.
Yeah. it's just half Gripply, just half man, half amphibian.
He's like, well, no, he is. Oh no, oh geez, I just thought he realized that the real threat is among all these supernatural slash scientific horrors going on. The real threat is the Hoff, because he's the alpha predator who gains strength when he gets wet. When he's wet, he just can't be beat. The Joker knew it. Yeah. The Ooze Monster knew it.
Yeah.
Well, you just want
It's the problem when you keep throwing aquatic monsters at him, but of course it's also Baywatch.
They keep throwing aquatic monsters at Aquaman, basically.
Yeah. Well, if you make an amphibious assault Hoff,
Yeah.
So, it can't be stopped.
So T's like, the only way to subdue the Hoff is with just a clone army of hot women.
Seems legit.
Yeah, so
That's why he couldn't talk about it before. Like, it's his secret plan to subdue.
All right. So how are you rating this thing?
well, see, that's the weird thing, because on one hand, no Teague.
To me, this feels like the 5.
Yeah, this feels kind of right in the middle, because there's some parts where you're just like, okay, Angie, you're just gonna make stuff up, and we're just gonna assume this is real. Like, especially in the beginning, when she's just like single cell organisms. Like, nobody's described anything to you except for acid burns. Yeah.
Did you read the script? Is that script over there?
It is pretty much that. Yeah, there's no Teague.
There's no Teague, and there's Teague exposition, which is a plus. That's all good. That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
I could do with a bit more exposition, but I'm fine. But if they just want to dole it out a little bit at a time, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Claire has her own little arc where she, like, deals with her fear.
Yeah.
And,
Hoff's all over the place in this episode. He goes from I'm wanting a picnic to I'm going to blow up an oil rig real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if you don't get a picnic, then
I just do love the part where Angie admits she doesn't know anything. She's just making it all up, and Hoff's just like, I don't care. I'm going to roll with it.
Yeah, it's true. Well, actually, Angie gets to actually like do stuff in this episode.
Yeah, she's not playing Ned in the Spider-Man movies.
Right.
She's not just the man in the chair.
Right. He's not just in some lab looking at beakers for some reason.
Yeah, which is funny because usually she looks at beakers and slowly comes up with the hypothesis that is actually true because she's examined it. And this time she's making it up as she goes. Mm-hmm. And it's also correct. So why do the science?
Maybe it's just that she's figured out that she can just bullshit it and it'll be true.
Yeah. The Hoff will make it work. It's just they have that orc belief thing.
Yeah, no. This feels like a very 5 for Baywatch Nights season 2.
Yeah. Donna's seemingly ditzier than usual in this episode a little bit.
Well, she doesn't do much.
She doesn't. Well, they have nothing for her to actually do in this.
He doesn't really need to be there.
No, they're contractually obligated to appear Donna.
Yeah, like the only thing that happens for her is she makes her first rescue.
Yeah,
and she sort of spearheads, I suppose, them going out to the rig because Griffith's just like, whatever.
Yeah, Griffith's like, it's probably fine. They're out there; they'll figure it out.
So 5.
Yeah, I'm fine with 5.
It feels like a 5 to me. Yeah, like the effects were bad, but like good for better than I would expect from Baywatch.
I mean, like
season 6.
when they were just pouring ooze places, it was fine.
Yeah.
When they actually had the ooze monster rear up, it always looked ridiculous.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, they you could do it like when it was in the background, or when they just had it like smush it up against the window or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, if they just cut those parts out in general and just left it as a ooze that just leaks in places, it probably would have been better.
Yeah, probably.
We didn't need the rubber sheet with the...
They saw the blob. That's all it comes into.
Yeah.
Alright. So the next episode. Let's see if you guys can... you're definitely not going to guess this one.
I'm mad that I didn't guess that it was an ooze monster after assuming that it was an oil rig that last time, because I should have guessed that.
Alright. So this one, I'm going to give you a hint right now. The title will give you no clues.
Well, what's the title?
The Strike.
The Strike. Fuck it. I'm saying vampires again.
I'm gonna say it's about the a union strike at the steam power Playa Vista.
So this one is Hoff rescues a young man who claims to have a connection with the Roswell incident.
Damn it, my neck guess was literally aliens. I'm not joking about that.
Yeah, you would have been closer. You would have been a lot closer there. So, I was just curious, because I was like, I just gotta find out when these episodes are gonna come up where we get some familiar faces. And we're a few episodes away from Destiny not being Destiny, right?
Not Destiny, yeah.
Yeah, she appears in a few episodes.
Destiny.
Coming up in a few episodes here. She's not too far out. But when I looked it up, I was like, okay, Elder B's in one episode. But he's shown in 24 episodes on IMDb, so I looked it up. And the pitch pilot is a separate, shorter episode they made that never aired.
Oh.
And so I was like, okay, let me look. I tried to look it up, and instead I ended up seeing a video about Baywatch Nights in general that talked about it. So the pitch pilot, Destiny, her character didn't exist, and Lisa Stahl, who plays Destiny, was basically in the role that Angie's in later. She's like the third wheel in LRB and Hoff's partnership here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And Angie Harmon doesn't exist in the pitch pilot. Okay, whatever. Stuff changes between the pitch and the whatever. Instead of the voiceovers, Hoff would just turn to the camera and talk to the camera like fucking Parker Lewis Can't Lose his bullshit.
Zach Morris style?
Yeah. And so that's a weird thing. Okay. The other crazy thing I learned is half of the episode, because it's a short episode, they kind of establish a thing, they have like a musical segment, and then they have their big action sequence. And their big action sequence is Lisa Stahl's character running away with a bag to an amusement park. That part of the best episode is from the pitch sequence. They just repurposed it for another episode.
That makes sense. Yeah. We said it felt out of place, didn't we?
Yeah.
That it was like from something else?
Yeah, and it was like, well, we don't know what's going on here, and it just happens, and it's fun, and then whatever. And they're like, this is too good. We can't just throw this away.
At least they realized that.
Yeah. The other thing I learned...
LB's like, I found a dude on a Ferris wheel.
Yeah! I was like, I shot a guy in a merry-go-round.
You're not cutting that out.
Yeah, no. Which is like the best sequence in all of Baywatch Nights. Mm-hmm. The other thing I found out is the pilot that was supposed to be the first episode was not the first episode they showed. It was the episode where they show in flashback how they got the detective agency.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, and they just ended up going, I guess,
that?
it's like episode 8. Where they go, where, and so there's like flashbacks where like, yeah, they're just like, oh, I guess we're just gonna throw this one in later. and show how they get the detective agency from the guy who faked his death and steal his car and whatever. Yeah, that was supposed to be the first episode, but fuck it, we'll show it later.
I don't know why people do that.
I don't know either. Yeah, so what Hoff wanted, I was telling Andre this a little bit, what Hoff wanted out of this show is the show what me and Andre would really want the show to be.
Well, one of the versions.
Yes, there's a second version that's way cooler.
There's two versions. One's cooler than the other, but this one is realistic.
So Hoff was like, he's kind of growing out a little bit of being the lifeguard guy. Baywatch had been on for a few years already at this point. He wanted something a little cooler. He wanted to have a private detective show where him and Ellerby basically get to do Lethal Weapon, the TV series.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, they're great together. They're always fun together. The best scenes are when Ellerby gets to be cool with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So, 100% on board with this. But then they're like, no, you gotta make it a Baywatch thing. And so they just shoved Baywatch into this. And they're like, well, we'll shove Destiny's character, who'd been on like 2 episodes of Baywatch before. They're like, we'll shove her in there. And then, what's funny is like,
and also, where you heard me.
yeah, they did a, like, one of their little pitch things was like, they showed some stuff from Baywatch as like, oh, this is like what we're going for. And they showed, like, this is a part from the video that made me laugh. Is that, like, for Ellerby stuff, because Ellerby is such like a do-nothing in Baywatch, I guess, that in order to, like, advertise him as part of the show, they show things from, like, his, like, basically his version of the Chet Awesome Laser alter ego from, like, a show within a show on Baywatch, where he's doing, like, all kinds of action punches and stuff.
Right.
Great.
Yeah, and you know what's even funnier? Is in early Baywatch, they make, like, one of the side gags of the B plot of an episode is where, like, the Hoff gets cast in, like, a TV show that he moonlights in while doing Baywatch stuff, where he plays a private detective. So they already made a joke about making Baywatch Nights, and then made Baywatch Nights anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that seems legit.
And so there's, like, it's great. You can go back and look at videos of Hoff on, like, Conan, where Conan's like, alright, this is pretty confusing to me. He's like, you're supposed to be a lifeguard by day and a detective by night, but then the show takes place during the day, and Hoff's like, it's really confusing to me, too. And that's how they advertise for Baywatch Nights.
Classic.
Yeah. It's like, oh no. This is the thing. So yeah, there's one episode where Ellerby shows up. I'll keep it a secret. I will not say.
Alright.
I will not look.
And there's
I will not care.
no, you'll care because we talk all about it. We're like,
You can't. We'll make you care.
yeah. I just want Ellerby just to stab Teague in the neck.
That would be the best way. That would be the best way for him to come back.
Yeah.
Like Teague just enters the room and just like, hey guys, what's that? And then,
Yeah.
And then just Ellerby shoves him aside. It's like, hey.
Cold open. And then cut to black, Soprano style. Don't stop.
Yeah. No, there you go. Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah. No, the cooler version of the show that we super want, like, the reboot of Baywatch Nights to be.
Yeah, Baywatch 20XX.
Yeah. Because it basically plays out a lot like a Shadowrun situation. Including the fact that Hoff gets a backpack full of grenades and a katana.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally
they have Teague, who's I believe the I forget what the Shadowrun has a specific term for the person who gives you jobs, basically. It's supposed to be somebody who vets jobs for the
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
And so that's Teague's role, but he's a shady version of that. So everybody. So basically he would turn out to be a corp. He would turn out to be a corpo eventually in the show. And so you have Street Sams, Hoff and Ellerby, basically, just different types of street samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Angie as a Decker, Destiny as a shaman, and
I
think you need to definitely give one of them chrome eye shields.
And here's,
and
here's the thing: a lot of the season 1 capers of Baywatch Nights revolve around companies. There's always some company involved.
There's so much of the stuff revolves around they're like working for somebody who works for a company, or they're doing something on behalf of a company.
They're trying to do some shady secret takeover of a company.
Yeah, it's all very Shadowrun.
Yeah. It's like the show doesn't know it wants to be Shadowrun, but it really wants to be Shadowrun.
It's just nobody who wrote for it knows that Shadowrun is a thing.
Yeah.
And then it's really all you just throw cyberpunk paint on top of Baywatch Nights and it just becomes Shadowrun. Basically.
Yeah.
Especially now with the Jogans jumping out of the bushes and stuff. Yeah.
It's just, and the problem is that they didn't know they were in an RPG setting, so they didn't know they had to keep the gear they get. So they didn't keep the backpack full of grenades and the samurai sword.
Right.
Well, the problem is they're actually doing Shadowrun Crossfire, so every time it restarts, they have to restart with their own basic cards.
Here's the thing too: is that the way you do it, the way you do the cyberpunk reboot of Baywatch Nights, is that you just have cameos from the original thing. Because I have no reason to believe that Hoff wouldn't show up as a Street Samurai cameo where he passes the katana onto new Hoff, basically.
Yeah.
You just have them show up as just as cameos, so that you know it's the same universe and everything, but just also Shadow.
Yeah. It's like Ellerby gives his pistol to Idris Elba or whatever.
Whoever.
That's my pick for Ellerby.
Sure. Why not? Idris Elba, can't go wrong.
Then Hoff passes his to Sean Bean, who dies immediately, and it's picked up by somebody else.
Now, who would be a good Hoff now?
Who's the modern day Hoff?
Yeah.
That I got no idea. I don't know celebrities well enough.
The guy that does the Witcher stuff.
Oh, Henry Cavill?
Yeah, I can see Cavill.
Maybe like a Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum, I think, probably is better ultimately, because he can pull off the sort of douchiness better than Cavill can.
True. I agree.
Yeah. Angie. That's a tricky one.
It's a tricky one. Yeah, I don't know. There's again, I don't know actors and actresses well enough to do casting very well.
Not modern, like.
Oh no!
It's like, yeah, we want to go back 20 years.
He's like, a young Marissa Tomei.
I mean,
we're passing the torches adjacently.
I mean, somebody older than Angie.
The corpse of Angela Lansbury.
Bette Midler, what do you think?
Playing Angie Harmon's character is Mark Harmon.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that, honestly.
With the mom outfit.
Well, no. See, the thing is Angie Harmon, her character would still be if she wanted to, of course, she could still be an active person in the thing, because she would just be the mission control type person.
I mean, we'd plug Angie Harmon back in, but I don't think she would do it.
Yeah, I don't think she would do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's just
pass the torch off to Rhea Perlman. There we go. That's our in for Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito as Teague.
And the theory we had a long time ago that makes more sense in this setting is that Donna's just been banging the GM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah, so what was it? And I'm not sure what she would be exactly, but she'd probably be a physical adept, actually, yeah.
And this is the other thing, too, is like, they're operating out of an office above a bar. That's so Shadowrun shit right there.
Yeah.
It just stacks up. It stacks up too well.
It's too perfect.